So we have seen it's been a really optimistic entire morning. Now, to start off with, I will come straight to the numbers. Now, I would like to say numbers is like a bikini. What it conceals is more important than what it reveals. So coming up straight to the numbers, the recent expectation that we have from the central government is 22,000 electric vehicle charging stations using the facility of 70,000 petrol pumps across the country, that's pan-India. Is that really possible? I'll start with you, Dinesh.
So of course it's possible. So in real estate terms, obviously the oil companies have the most required real estate for setting up the charging infrastructure within the cities. But I think one fact we perhaps have not brought into our deliberations is the power. So there is, when you're setting up charging stations, you're obviously doing it for doing a top-up charging, where the vehicle has already got a 40-50% charge, and then you're trying to top it up to 100% or 80% within the shortest possible time. So you need a fast charger there. Now for this, the quantum of power required, now depending on the configuration, the quantum of power required could run into, hundreds of kilowatts or going up to a megawatt scale. Now we have to realize that our cities are already constrained in terms of the power availability, right? So our grids in many places are fragile. So I don't see a discussion happening around those constraints, at all, which are very important. So there has to be a dedicated power feed in there. I'm not saying a dedicated feeder, but on the same power line, there has to be an ability to absorb this spike in power demand. The chargers will create a lot of distortion, what we call as a harmonic distortion. Our grids already have so much of distortion, though the chargers which we are now manufacturing are designed to have a distortion less than 5%. But imagine the number of chargers getting installed in the city and the amount of distortion it might create. Where are we having discussions about all of that? So it's not as simple as establishing 5 chargers in every oil station. There is a lot of work which has to be done behind this, and we have to also remember India is a power deficit country. This gap between generation and demand will continue because we are a growing country. There'll be an increase in demand on an individual per capita basis. There'll be an increase in demand from the commercial spaces that we are creating. There'll be an increase in demand from the industry that we are setting up. And over and above that, now we'll have the EV chargers demanding more and more power, right? The estimate by 2030 is 100 terawatt hours. So these are the challenges. I mean, look at city, city where we are sitting today, Gurugram doesn't have power throughout, right? It's still dependent so much on the DG sets. So realistically, where is the power available? So I think these are some of the challenges and questions that we really need to ask.
Okay, so here I guess we see power not being available. Sandeep, what would you like to say about it?
So I heard your opening comment about numbers and whether things can happen. So while numbers say a lot, they also conceal a lot. Okay, so 22,000 chargers, 70,000 petrol pumps. So what it conceals is 70,000 petrol pumps also have 4 or 5 dispensers each. But what it also conceals is 22,000 chargers are not the only chargers that you will have. Every vehicle has their own personal charger installed at their homes. Which means if I buy an electric car, I will have a charger in my parking which is meant for me only. I will have a charger installed at my, let us say, farmhouse or office, if I'm a doctor, for me only. Because electricity is everywhere.
Right.
So public charger is a emergency use situation or an intercity travel situation. For everything else, you don't even need to go to a public charger. Worldwide statistics, and everybody can verify, and this is the same trend happening in the country in India. 80% of the cars or vehicles actually charge at home. In two-wheelers, this is almost 90% plus. The only 20% that people charge is, just like we forget charging our phones, we go to a public charger. Just like if we have to go from one place to the other, which is 800 kilometers away, I use a public charger. Otherwise, 60 to 70% of the cars which have been in the existence for about 3 years have never even seen a public charger at all. So I don't think this is a scary situation. And I think I just want to make a quick, correction of what Dinesh ji said. I think India is a power surplus country in terms of generation. The only problem which I agree with you is the quality of distribution, which means things don't go right at the last mile. Some places, not in Tata Power distribution areas though.
Right.
And that could be the only issue. And the final, thing that is always said is that what if so many cars come in or so many scooters become electric? So here is an assurance to everybody coming from a power sector person. If every car today or scooter or three-wheeler gets converted to electric, the additional power demand, and you can do the math, additional power demand is likely to be less than 10% increase, which any power company can handle in a matter of a day. So really speaking, some of the concerns that Dinesh ji mentioned was very, very correct, whether it is harmonics, heat, humidity, all of those things which I call 4H, heat, humidity, harmonics and human intervention, which is vandalism. Those concerns are very different concerns. But power is definitely not a concern. Number of charges is not a concern because very simply, power is available everywhere. Petrol is not available everywhere.
I guess the concern would be how will the power be connected to the grid? We would like to hear something more candid from you, Sandeep. Tata Power being one of the electricity providers here in Delhi NCR. What is the role of Tata Power right now to go ahead and distribute and take EV forward, not just in Delhi, but nationally? If you could give us some numbers.
Numbers.
Yeah.
This is good. So here is it. Brace for it. We have installed about 1,500, 1,400 chargers in the country, public chargers, combination of DC fast chargers and AC slow chargers. We are present in 200 plus cities. Right in Delhi, and this is, everybody can see it on the app. We have got over 80 chargers right in the city of Delhi and NCR. Public chargers again. I'm not even counting the home charger that we have installed with through our tie-ups with the automotive company. That number is upwards of 10,000. Okay. More numbers? I'll give you more numbers. We will finish this year with about 2,000 chargers in the public domain. Chargers, about 600 chargers are at various stages of installation. Some places you have applied for power, you have not get power and all of that. Various stages of installation. So we will finish by 2,000.
Right.
And next year, we hope to cross about 10,000, approximate. You want more numbers? No,
That's
okay.
fine. That's good enough. So let's move now to Praveen, your opening comments.
Basically what we are speaking to public charges, what we are speaking about the public charges is for the public use only. But to the adoption of EVs, we have to focus on the commercial vehicles first. Because through the adoption of CNG also, we have seen the commercial vehicles switch to CNG first. So what we have to develop is like EV space for commercial vehicles first. Even if you are sitting in an EV as of a commercial vehicle, then you will get the experience of an EV and then you will shift to an EV. So what we have to develop about this is to develop infra for the commercial vehicles that they can charge properly. We're developing the infra all over the country for the commercial uses that will help to develop public charging stations and the confidence about the public, about the EVs and the charging stations. So basically what I meant to say is that before shifting to the public, because as Sir said, they already have home chargers. We have to shift to the commercial vehicles space first. Adoption of the EVs first and adoption of the EV infrastructure first. Providing charging stations at petrol pumps is not the solution for them. Providing a proper space, proper infrastructure is the solution for them, for the EVs.
Right. Rahul, do you think petrol pumps is a lucrative form of business with word buzzing around that petrol pumps, the EV petrol pumps would be more a social service?
You're talking about petrol pumps. I can tell you that I will give you a statistics again.
Yes.
We have installed a charger at Sajgaon, Mumbai-Pune highway. We are getting a consumption of more than 1,000 units, and that's just for 15 days. So what it tells about, uh, and what is our learning is that petrol pump model will work, but it will not work everywhere. You have to identify the characteristics where it is going to work. You have to have a facility for the people, where they can spend that time for 30 minutes. Even if you are installing fast charger, and I am talking about charger of the rating of 50 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt.
Right.
There are other challenges involved to set up the charging infrastructure. I do agree with some of the comments and disagree with some of the comments. But yes, to answer, it will work. But you have to have your priority list criteria sorted out. Where exactly it will work, that you need to look at. I think that list has to be very, very clear. And also to set up the charging infrastructure, one of the important thing when you're talking about highways, you're talking about a 50 kilowatt charger, not 25 kilowatt charger, CCS2, which requires a lot of investment into the infrastructure, back-end investment. Again, a statistics I will give you. Some of the rating, 142 kilowatt charger, 150 kilowatt kind of charging station model will require an investment of to the tune of 10 to 11 lakhs. Even if you talk about subsidy, that is an equal investment into the infrastructure what you are putting on the chargers as well. So it's a huge investment, 100% of the investment, even after taking subsidy into account.
All
So
right.
these are the challenges one has to solve, and one has to figure out the priority list, how utilization is going to come, and then also the collaboration can happen. Because these challenges will always be there. It's a start of an era. What I believe is that you have to figure out the solutions.
Okay.
This is my view in a nutshell. Thank
Right.
you.
I would now like to bring in Sir Shivastava. So if you could give us your opening statement, please.
The issue is that what is it that is doing that option of electric vehicles, but slowly, probably we are putting more focus on the four-wheeler and what is doing that option four-wheeler. Now, if we used to play about it, we are doing 4 years back, maybe I would raise the minority of the non-availability of the charging infrastructure is in the road of the issue for the adoption of electric vehicles. My understanding is no more at first. Raise the minority is one of the issues that has been rightly said. And even at that time, today, that you would give the that 80 to 85% of the charging does take place, right? The user provides it, not in the public charging. China used to give a subsidy for their public charging station, but they stopped giving subsidy to the charging infrastructure 2 years back. And the economic model, the public charging station has not been successful to the extent they were expected to be. We cannot ignore this perspective, and along with that, the kind of research and the work which is going on for having the fast chargers and even the faster EV chargers and of course the faster EV chargers. All these things cannot be ignored. And along with that, there are issues related to the standardization and the protocol. Now, we need to have the standardization in terms of the protocol. Yes, of course, we have Haryana going to the two kind of protocols and a little bit of Verma and somewhat domination for the unity because of what is going from the but then again, here the government has to do a lot of kind of history, has to find out charging standard and the protocol for the Indian vehicles and how it should be there. Right now, the guidelines are about putting a point. We say that charging station should have the charging, all the charging kind of the video, all the charging protocols, the different models for charging. So these are the different models that if we go into some kind of a shopping model or battery model, then there is a lot of standardization to be needed. So this is what is there. We try to develop the Indian travel protocols and for that, the industry opted to the monthly concrete has led to more income of the past TV starting and also the kind of measures that should be adopted and also right now with different models, with different OEMs, different kind of things are available, which need to be utilized for putting the range and variety at home. The bigger some of the observations regarding the adoption of the vehicles for the lack of charging infrastructure items, I must say that the subsidy infrastructure is not have that kind of clarity at which they are values for upgrade or look at maybe something like that. Now things are moving forward, even the kind of upgrades we are going to have for the charging infrastructure.